Welcome. Welcome to the Rewind. Woo!
Woohoo!
And our news monthly podcast. Continue on with us, during this journey. So, let's talk. Oh, I gonna do that whole thing over. Thank you.
Keep it going.
So,
Okay, so we're back.
We educate, discuss, and bring forth solutions to issues plaguing our community.
I'm Jhanae Winter.
And I'm Jasmine Lundy, and this is
The Rewind.
good day, everyone.
Hello, Jasmine.
How you doing?
Right, I'm good. So, starting over. Welcome to The Rewind, an our news monthly podcast where we discuss important topics within our community. If you are new here, don't come here. Go back to episodes 1, 2, and 3, and then come here and join the conversation because we promise you don't want to miss this. To those of you who've been rocking with us from day one, thank you for continuing on with us during our journey. Now, we have a really fun topic today. We'll be talking about backyard farming. But before we get into that, I'm your host, Jasmine Lundy, and I'll let everyone else introduce themselves.
Okay, well, I am the, recurring guest. Kriston Saunders. It's good to be back on the couch. It's good to know I'm not fired yet. So we'll see how long we can keep this up.
And of course, you guys know me. I'm your co-host, Jhanae. And like Jasmine said, we're going to be talking about backyard farming. So let's get into that discussion. But first, you guys know what backyard farming actually is. If you don't, I have a definition. So,
Of course you do.
It's the practice of utilizing any kind of space you have in order to grow produce or your own food. Is this something that you guys have ever tried? You ever tried backyard farming before?
Yes.
Okay, story time. Okay.
Yeah. I would say thanks to, it feels weird saying thanks to COVID.
I know.
Right?
We get it, but I know.
Yeah, but anyway, thanks to COVID, it got me into some new hobbies, mostly because I was home and bored and hungry. And you remember those long lines at the grocery store?
Remember we had to go by our last name?
Yeah.
Bro, tragic time.
And it was at that moment I realized this doesn't make sense.
Right.
I shouldn't need to wait 3 hours in a line just to get in the grocery store just to buy peas. So what can I do about it? Oh, I know. These things grow in the ground. Let me try it.
Right.
So yeah, that's how I got into it, with varying degrees of success, obviously. But it's an experience. It's an experience. I felt like an adult for the first time.
So was peas the only thing you planted, or?
I did cabbage. No, not cabbage. Sorry, cucumber, zucchini, and bird peppers.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So how did you know where to plant it, what soil to use, or did you do it in your backyard on a windowsill?
So I don't have my own backyard, which is what I imagine that a lot of our audience may be able to relate.
Same.
But I do have a plot of dirt on the side of my yard. The soil isn't great, but I just went in one day and I planted some seeds, and I got some pots from somebody and I put them down. Like I say, varying degrees of success, because snails move faster than you think.
Wow.
Okay. And they are very greedy.
Really?
But yeah, it was fun. I got to eat a pepper.
Awesome.
Nice. Okay, Jazz.
So, backyard farming has been with me since I was a toddler. I remember.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting that.
I know, we have a whole expert.
No. But I remember being very young, and my mom, she had this whole thing in the backyard. We had carrots and lettuce and all types of stuff. So I grew up loving it, and over time I kind of fell off because of life and adulting, but it's something that I love to do. Right. So yeah.
Yeah, you have a whole different life experience than I do.
Well, both of y'all have a different life experience, because I've actually never tried it before. Never. I don't know, like I don't see myself like, okay, I'm a type of person once I get my own place or whatever, like I'll hire somebody to do that for me.
Today, what?
Like it's other things that I'm interested in. It's still backyard farming. I don't have
mean,
to be
yeah,
the one doing
But you're
it.
not
And I
like
was just
that
about to say, it still
interested?
counts.
I mean, like, if it's like a life or death thing, like Kanye, he's like, didn't want to go online, still needed to eat. Maybe in that situation I would.
Okay.
But like to say, you know what? I'm just really interested. I'm just gonna go and dig up a hole and put some seeds in the ground. Like, I mean, everybody isn't gonna be interested, so
Right.
I'm not to the point where I would do it if it's not something that's crucial to my life or like crucial to survival.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people garden and backyard farm for like leisure and relaxation, all that stuff. That's not how I find my relaxation.
Well-
I'll watch a YouTube video about it.
But I think it still counts because, and I'm sure we're going to get into this more later, but I guess the point of it too is that because there's sort of like I want to say a microeconomic advantage to it in a sense
Okay.
that you don't, even if you just grow peas, even if you just grow tomatoes, that's something you don't have to go to the store and buy.
Right.
Right.
It's something that you can feed your family. It's something anyone can do at any time as long as you have a convenient plot of land, be it your backyard, front yard, or just any property, because it's a low startup cost too. Like that's
True.
the point of it as well. And I think for me, what I had to do, and for people who are just getting into it who aren't lifelong experts like Jasmine,
I know, right?
is you start small.
Right.
I was tempted to try to grow a variety of different things at the same time,
Too ambitious.
even though I was a noob. Yeah, so I would definitely say from my personal experience, start small. Just
Right.
grow one thing at a time.
Right.
Tomatoes
agree.
tend to be very forgiving.
Yeah.
Peas are very low maintenance. You hear me say that a lot.
Sure.
I think with peas, the hardest thing is keeping them from not proliferating so much,
Yeah.
because they can really take over your yard if you
Yeah.
let them. But yeah, so I think that's the point. Whether you hire somebody or you want to get into it yourself, or you just have somebody else do it, the results are the same in my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, my mom did it. Me personally, I didn't, but my mom did. I know when we were living in our old house, we had like corn, like like how the cornfield was. Like we literally had like a mini cornfield, and it was so cute. Like I wish we still had. I could have taken like some nice pictures. Like I was fine.
Really today?
Yes, y'all see where my mind is. But we did at our house now. I think she wanted to like grow some potatoes, and we do have a yard. But I guess the person who did it, Missy didn't do it right because everything died, nothing grew, and then my mom wasn't. She's a working woman, and you guys may find this relatable watching. When you come home from work, if it's not a leisure for you, you may not find the interest to say, I'm just going to go in my backyard and start digging. I'm going to change my clothes and do all that. So I think that was the aspect to the upkeep of it.
Right.
Because we were excited, we were interested, we wanted to do it, but, I didn't feel like going in the yard and digging it. No. And then
Right.
she probably didn't feel like it too. Some days she did, but some days she didn't. And so we literally had like one potato to keep out of it. And the thing is just sitting there now, and it's like such an eyesore. But it didn't work out for us. So I don't know. Like I said, the person who like helped us with it, because we didn't really know what we were doing, I think maybe he didn't do it right. Maybe he didn't have the right soil, or I don't know. It just didn't work out. It was a fail. Yeah.
But I think overall, though, I think it's something that everyone should do.
Yeah.
On
And can
some
do.
type of scale, right? And
Yeah.
can do, because I find myself like within my household throwing away a lot of produce.
Oh yeah.
Tomatoes stay in the garbage.
Spinach.
Cucumbers, slimy.
It's so annoying.
Onions, moldy. So, and it's like, it don't have to be wasted,
don't,
you know? And I feel it's money wasted, because
Real.
these are the things that we went to the
Yes.
grocery store to buy, and then they're wasting in the fridge. Whereas if we grew it ourselves, it wouldn't be that much of a waste of money and
Agreed.
produce, because we have so much of it because you grow it in your backyard.
Agreed.
So I think it's definitely something that people should look
Yeah.
into.
How much do you guys spend on produce? Whenever you buy from the store or local vendors, if you shop with local people, how much do you think you spend?
Well, recently I purchased some produce from a pop-up shop. I was supporting CB Bethel.
Okay.
Well, my little stomping ground.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I got like some, I think it was like rosemary, eggplant, bok choy, and like cherry tomatoes. And that whole bag was like $8.
What?
I can tell you where you ain't gonna
Tomatoes
get that
alone
from.
is $8.
I showing you.
Like what?
$8.
Wow.
Yeah, and maybe she was being generous because we kind of knew each other, but
Still,
right,
that's good.
right, and you can't go in the grocery store and pick that up for $8.
No, girl.
But
Like I went to, cause I want to start eating more fruits. You know, I'm trying to be a little healthier. You know. But I noticed like every time I would go grocery shopping, cause I shop weekly for food, I wasn't getting no fruits because like I don't want no oranges. I want like strawberries, plums, and stuff, but these things are like really expensive for me and my little budget. So I wasn't getting fruits, but Kamaica Road, that's like a Rasta, and then someone else came there now. So we have like two kind of like fruit vendors on Kamaica Road, and they're really good. I got, let me see. I like y'all know the little clear jars with the lid. It's like about this size. He had some fruits in that, so I got some pineapples, I got some grapes, I got bananas, I got nectarine? I got nectarine, and that only cost me about $11.
what?
And I had like 6
Pineapples
bananas.
alone.
So-
I had 6. Oh yes,
It's
pineapples. I
expensive.
said pineapples. I had grapes, 3 nectarines, and all that was only 11. So when
And
he
I
told me
sure
that,
they was sweet.
because he was like $11, I was like, for everything? He's like, yeah. I was like, what? I was expecting this to be like $1.15, nearly $20.
Right.
Sure. So I'm definitely gonna start doing that more because buying it in the store is just,
Yeah.
it just ain't working out for me.
Yeah.
And I actually finding myself being a little bit better with it, like rationing it out a little bit better too, and not letting it go to waste. And then fruits is like tasty, so you could just eat it as a little snack. Versus vegetables, you may have to cook it or try put in a little salad to eat it. But I'm definitely being more intentional with making sure it doesn't waste as well. So yeah.
And to be honest, just a quick point on that. I've been noticing something from the food store produce that's been turning me off from purchasing fruit.
Really?
It's like,
I feel like you want to tell me something that you never want me to shop at.
no, but like they spoil, but not like spoil. It's like an apple
Oh, yeah.
would grow
Yeah,
old in
yeah,
the fridge,
yeah.
but it would take a long time for it to break down. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
I just eat it.
Oh yeah.
why are, like, I've been looking at you for a month now
Right, you still
in
here?
the fridge, and you're still here.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Still
And-
red and glossy.
Right. So
It's the wax.
Right. So, and I've noticed that that's not the case with produce purchased from local farmers. So
Agree.
that's something I've been looking at.
And especially organic produce, which I mean, and I guess what does that even mean nowadays, right?
Is everything organic?
Yeah,
No
because
GMOs.
Right.
now what I'm finding is, based on what you and Jasmine are saying, is that it doesn't have to be so expensive to feed ourselves,
Right.
which I guess brings us to the overarching issue of this, which is food security, or food
Right.
insecurity, I should say. So it appears as if this could be the thing that solves
lot of the
a
problems.
growing problem of food
Right.
insecurity. And I mean, I'm not sure how much of the region or the world is as
We've
food
got
insecure
those
as we are.
statistics for y'all. We've
Yeah,
got
I'm
them.
sure you do. Right?
Right.
But yeah, so what I'm getting is that this seems to be a formula that can work. You know, even if you are just able to buy, say, onions from a local farmer for cheap, and then you get something else from another local farmer for cheap that only
Yeah.
growing one type of thing,
Yeah.
you're still getting a variety of food
Right.
options without paying.
And you're still supporting local vendors.
And you're still supporting local vendors
A win is a win.
where the prices aren't marked up 100,
Agreed.
200%. So, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about why backyard farming is so important, especially now, because it's always a topic to talk about, right? But why now? So we have some statistics to show you why you should be focusing on this. This is important. So as of around February of 2022, 47% of Bahamians were said to be living below the poverty line. That's a very big percentage.
Wow.
And that's according to Minister of Foreign Affairs, Fred Mitchell. That's a big percentage. And that's from February of 2022. Imagine what it possibly could be today.
Yeah, because we went up on a lot of stuff.
Right.
A lot of prices
Everything
increase.
is going up. All
Everything,
of the
all
bills,
type hikes.
right.
Yeah.
So imagine what that's like today. In addition to that, as of recently, the president of Guyana, her name is Carla Barnett, she said that food insecurity is a regional issue. So it's not just something the Bahamas is experiencing.
Right.
And I find that like kind of crazy because we have so much land, even though we sell off a lot of it.
But like the Caribbean whole.
Yeah.
Right, we have so much
Yeah,
land.
it's a lot.
And especially the Bahamas is, in a sense, so small compared to other places. Why can we not feed ourselves? Why is this a huge struggle? We're spending about $1 billion a year to import food from God knows where to feed ourselves. And it's only, I don't even want to go into the health risk
Yeah, that's a whole nother
of
thing.
those foods. But it's
Right.
like, why?
Yeah, and remember when we talked about it earlier about how much we waste, how much produce we buy versus what we throw away. And even when you go into the grocery stores, sometimes you may see an apple and it's slightly misshapen, or it's perfectly good,
Yeah.
but it's just a little off or a little misshapen, so you don't pick it up. And then those things just get thrown away.
Right.
So you think that the issue of food insecurity has a lot to do with, I guess, the disparity between the haves and the have-nots, the people who have the money to afford these things, and they almost like sort of tend to buy in excess and waste. And then the people that need or who are below the poverty line just doesn't have access to it. Because even if you're talking about backyard farming, if you, how much you say it was, like 47% below the poverty line, who may not have access to a convenient plot of land to even do that,
Right.
you know? So I'm thinking that it may go hand in hand with, I guess, a disparity between those who live in with a certain level of income and those who are below the poverty line, but also our habits, our tendency to waste and throw away excess.
That's true.
Because from what I'm understanding, we have enough and we have the ability to grow enough. I'm not sure what we're doing with the eggs issue. I guess y'all can talk about that later.
Yes, we can talk about it.
But yeah, it seems to me like there's no real reason other than maybe a lack of awareness or even on a policy level in terms of what we do, what restaurants do, what grocery stores do with wasted food.
Right.
You know?
That's a good point. Because then, like, what are we doing with the waste? Because, of course, you could turn things into compost that could go back into growing things, soil, all that stuff. So
I know I saw a video some time ago about someplace in the States, and they take the waste, what would have been the wasted produce, and they give it out to people in the
Yeah,
community.
that's
So I
true.
think that's a really good initiative to do, because just because it doesn't look as shiny as you would want it to doesn't mean it's not edible and doesn't mean it's not good, you know?
Yeah. And I know we have some I guess NGOs that already do that. What's this? Is it Hands for Hunger? That are already doing it. Maybe we just need to do it on a large enough
larger
scale.
scale.
Yeah, because
It's that 47%. That's high.
Yeah.
That's half our
That's
population.
alarming. That's an issue. That's an
'Cause-
issue.
because that I mean, I don't have the statistics on it. I'm clearly just talking on the top of my head, but then that would mean that close to half of our population is living between moderate to severe food insecurity at this point. Could be, I mean, mind you, I don't have the numbers, but it would make sense that it's either close to half or more, which, you know, it's definitely a solvable problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of solvable problems, there have been a few more new initiatives that have been coming up, not just from the government, but from high schools, different private organizations.
Right.
So, for example, Prime Minister Philip Davis, he announced that there's a new initiative for eggs. So they want us to produce eggs locally.
Great.
Which makes sense.
Which
Right.
makes a lot of sense.
Because eggs are expensive.
Very.
We went to a food store this morning. We took photos of those eggs. One of the eggs that claimed to be cage free was $13 and change for 12. So you paying about $1 an egg for something that didn't live in a cage. I think that's still kind of costly. And then the cheapest one I think was about
like 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, about $5 or $6. But it's still costly.
That's still pretty. I remember when eggs used to be like $3-4.
Like $4. Yeah. So, in addition to that, though, there's a farm in Grand Bahama. I think it's called Berkshire Bahamas Farms.
I've heard about them.
Right, and they like purchased 2,000 chicks because their goal is to produce 1,000 eggs a week. And I think that's so cool.
I read about that. They actually said, I think in the article, what is it? Free chickens, like the ones who are not like domesticated, like they produce better eggs. And they were talking in the story how like eggs are like pink and green, like they come in all these different colors, not just like the white and the brown that we typically see. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, when I read that, I was like, okay, cool.
Thank you.
But I'm glad to see like local, not like you said, it's not just the government, because a lot of times it's like, okay, what is the government doing? What is the government doing? But you know, like Kanye said, this could actually be like a solvable issue where it takes us as a community getting involved. So this is a local farming business. So like, okay, we see the issue, eggs. Like eggs is a big thing. Everybody talking about eggs. If y'all watch our 3rd episode, Kanye had a lot to say on eggs. So eggs are very serious. So the fact that they're a local business and they're like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. You know, I really like that. And you know, hopes that other farmers, whether they do it on their own or maybe collaborate, you know, they could, you know, do things like this where we could now, I guess, keep the money within the Bahamas and really support the local farming and decrease import and all that stuff. So I'm glad to see that.
And hopefully it's something we stick with, because we didn't.
Because it's you know, things get like, not to cut you off, but like things are like a little trendy, or like everybody like, okay, not to make this about the government, but like, you know, climate change is like a big conversation now. And it's not that it isn't serious, but all of a sudden everything is climate change. So it's like, is it a continuation, or is this just like a fad where we're in right now? So I'm hoping in that kind of vein, the agriculture, backyard farming, all these initiatives are not just like a little type of like just trying to ease a fad or a trend, but it is like something that's continued, because food security will always be a thing.
And it's not a new problem.
No.
This is, I mean, we didn't just start importing most of our food. This isn't something that we only just realized post pandemic.
Right. We always had this. We
always knew this. And I mean, and to be fair, and I'm not gonna say that the government or past governments have never tried to address it before.
Right.
They have, and I commend them. But you know, it took massive inflation for us to get this far.
Exactly. Very what's it? Reactive.
Yeah.
Very reactive.
And you know, you shouldn't need a crisis to breed innovation.
I agree.
You should, you know, like I say, this is something that we've always had. It didn't have to come to the point where people can't feed themselves for us to say, okay, let's solve this problem, because clearly we always had the answers. We always knew this. The research was always there. The studies were always there. I think even from the F&M government time, they had I think it's Michael Pindart? He had addressed it before in the House of Assembly. So we always knew that this was a thing that would eventually catch up to us if we don't fix the problem.
Agreed.
Right. So speaking of all of this backyard farming stuff, I think it's time for us to take a little field trip to an actual farm.
Oh my God, no. You see what I'm wearing?
You know what, Kanye? You can stay behind and man the ship.
Right.
Jhanae and I will go, and we'll come right back. We'll be right back.
I'll time you on my watch that doesn't work.
Okay.
Oh, y'all for real leaving me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm just going to keep them up here.
Let's go, Jhanae. We're going on a trip in our favorite rocket ship.
So guys, we just came from the studio and we're here at Sunset Organic Farms with Miss Whitlyn. But tell us what we're gonna do today, Jasmine.
I think she said propagation.
Propagation. You know what, guys? We are not afraid to be like, we are not afraid to be educated. So we're gonna propagate some veggies today, and Miss Whitlyn is gonna show us all how to do that.
Okay. First thing you do, you have to put your soil in your trays.
Hey, we're getting
So
dirty. Oh,
once you put the soil in, want to try it?
Sure,
Put your soil
sure. So I'm gonna use the spoon because I just got my nails done.
Girl, I wash off.
So I'm just gonna put some soil in here, and this is, you're saying this was garden soil?
No, this is not garden soil. This is
That's
Pro Mix.
store-bought
It's a
soil.
Pro Mixer.
Pro Mixer.
Electrolyte and perlite.
And we
Yeah.
fill it up straight to the top.
Yeah, fill it to the top.
So is that good?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, okay, let Jazzy Jazz try it.
So you get your soil, and then so it's shunned on in the farming community
To use spoon.
utensils.
Gotta
But
get your
that's
hands
okay.
dirty.
So this is us putting the soil in.
Okay, after you put the soil in, you decide the seed what you're going to put in. And depending on the seed would be the depth or the hole you put in to plant the seed. So you could pick one of the seeds you're going to plant.
I'm gonna go with.
Okay, that one is a radish.
And this is
that
lettuce.
one, yeah, that one is a lettuce and a pellet seed.
Okay, okay.
So Jhanae,
Jhanae? I have, wait, let me let you guys see it. I have the radish.
Yes, that's
Okay.
radish.
Wait, my hands look ashy.
girl. Okay, so I guess since I'm here, I start.
A quarter inch, not too deep. Make a hole.
That's it?
Yeah. Now cover it up.
Do I pack it in or just?
Let's cover it up and top it lightly.
Same thing, quarter in.
Yeah. Right.
That's it.
Mhm.
This is my first time farming.
Then you will
You water
the
it.
seed. Not too much water. If you put too much water on your plants, it can kill the seed because the seeds are very small. So you have to be careful. Yeah, that's okay. You could, okay? You put too little water and you let your seeds dry out, they may not germinate. You put too much water, it may not germinate. The seeds could rot. So you have to watch how much water you put on it, and that's very important. Many times people say, oh, my seeds didn't germinate, or my seeds. You have several reasons for the seeds not to germinate. The seeds are not viable, that means they're old. You put too much water, or you end up with a fungus in there, or you plant the seeds too deep. Plant it too deep, some of them need a little bit of light. It may not look like light you need it. If you plant it too deep, they may not germinate. Okay, so there's several reasons. And sometimes if you plant it directly in the ground, you may have insects in the ground that will eat your seeds, you know. So all of that you take into consideration.
Now, if a person's just starting out, would you suggest like a container like this, or what would you suggest for
I
them to-
suggest this because this is easier.
Okay.
Once you plant in the trays, the plants are, you have individual plants. They're much stronger. If you
Okay.
plant it out in the garden, you'll have to separate it and thinning out and transplanting. That's two set of process you have to go through. So if you just plant it in and put individual seed, if you have end up with two seeds in it, you could actually one of those trays. You will be able to separate the seeds, and it's easy and you can plant it. Okay? So over here, I planted these. You won't believe I planted these last week.
Wow.
So if you look here, this have 3. So when this is big enough, I could actually take this out and separate individually and plant it once it get bigger. You want to wait till it get the true leaves on it. Right now these are what we call the youngest leaf, the quarter leaving. These are only for the plant to get food. But when the true leaves come on them, you'll be able to do it. But you see that is, so if you have more, like this one here, you see how many plants in there? So some of these are going to be weak, especially the ones in the middle. So you want to put as little as possible. But even when they're like this, you can still separate them. Get another tray, an empty tray,
So they can get
and put them
stronger.
inside there until they get big enough for you to transplant. It's very easy, but this is much better because the plants are much stronger. And you have, depending on where you live, you may have animals step on the seeds or birds come and eat your seeds also. So all of that you have to take into consideration.
So how important would you say is backyard farming, especially living in the Bahamas where bringing in food is so expensive? So many people live below the poverty line. Some people just can't afford grocery. How important would you say is backyard farming?
I think it's very important. You know, in the olden days, people grew because they couldn't really have no money to go to the store. It's almost similar to that.
Yeah.
So right now, you can't go. You have a little piece of yard. You can plant your little vegetables. If another neighbor plant, so you could do what we call bartering. I grow tomatoes and sweet pepper, you grow lettuce and celery or something, and then we share among ourselves.
Like a community?
Like a community thing. And then, like that, you will have money to spend on the other things, protein, stuff and all that, but you'll have all your veggies, you know? So it's very important that we can do that. And not only that, we have fresher produce. When we import those stuff, sometimes when you go to the store, next day or 2 days ago, it's not good. So, and some of the nutrients are already gone. Vegetable, when you harvest, it's like a car when you get it off the lot. As soon as the car you pay $30,000 for, so you drive that off the lot, that may go down to $25,000. So the nutrients start to deplete. So that's why one of our reasons I think we have a health condition in the Bahamas too, because our food don't have the full nutrients that is required.
Wow.
So when you harvest something locally, you get more. A lot of people say, oh, local farm stuff so expensive. But remember, we import everything.
Right.
We have to import fertilizer, we have to import pesticides, we have to import the soil mix, we have to import everything. So all our costs go on that. And since COVID, prices went up like 3-4 times. So that means the farmer can't, what he used to sell or she used to sell for $3, can't sell it for $3 anymore. The price of we have to be compensated for all those variables they have to add in. Then you have to also add in loss or theft. But it'd be good if we could grow more of our stuff. Let's say people have lawn in their yard. We don't eat grass. So why not plant sweet potato?
Right.
You don't need to weed the sweet potato. You don't need the mow that.
Right.
And among your sweet potato, you could put some cassava or something there.
Yeah.
You know? So when one finish, you have the next one there. Then you could actually cook your sweet potato leaves. They're good. It tastes delicious. And people don't realize that. And you can eat the cassava leaf, not raw. All of these things, that's what you have to know. You have to cook them because the cassava, they see a little bit of cyanide in it get up in the system. That's like people who can't eat raw cassava. You shouldn't. You have to cook cassava. So you have to know certain things as a farmer. Tomato leaves, you shouldn't eat. These are poisonous. So certain leaves, like plants, like if you decide to grow something like a wing beans or fava beans, you have double. You can eat the leaves, cook it, like a cook of spinach, and when the beans are ready, you have fresh beans to eat. So me as a farmer, that's what I look at. Things where I could get more than one thing to it. Even some of our, let's say, passion fruit. A lot of people don't realize we can eat passion fruit leaves. But the tender small leaves, that's the older leaves are much coarse. Get the tender leaves and you cook that. You have what? You have all the greens right there. A lot of greens.
So can we get a little tour of what you are growing now and what other people can grow at home?
Yeah, we can do that.
So we're going into the garden.
Ricky, I could pee and come back. I'm gonna need you to come in here and let me know. Nate? Someone? I'm gonna use this opportunity to say all the words y'all told me I couldn't say. All right, it's out of my system.
Cabbage.
Cabbage.
Yeah, the heads, you can see the heads are forming. Some will be ready. The heads are forming. I hope that's a caterpillar. Then I planted some cilantro in here. I have not had no aphids or any insect on these, except I had that's it. So hopefully with the caterpillars, I normally spray with the BT because I didn't get plant any celery, and I stopped the cabbage leaf. Over here, we have some mustard greens. These are nice and spicy. here. And down in front, we planted some cabbage. Yeah, I just want to plant it. So we have some cabbage over there. You'll see this broccoli over here. You notice I already harvested most of these. You see this one? I didn't harvest this one. I leave this one. If you look at it, it's starting to plump. They will have yellow flowers on it, and I take those flowers and I put it on the salad mix to make it look pretty. And actually, the leaves of the broccoli can eat also.
Obviously, you probably don't purchase vegetables and fruits out of the grocery store. So, do you have like an estimation of maybe how much money you saved over the years?
I have an estimate, but I know I save a lot. Because I remember when my son was young in the yard, before I had the farm and everything, I had my little garden. I say, BJ, I cooking. Yes, mommy, go get the basil, go get this. And he come back inside, so I didn't have to buy any herbs. So all those were there, and depending on what I cooking, I'll say, well, get me this and get me that. But once I'm cooking, I want the herbs.
Okay, so from the top of your head, give me 3 vegetables and then 3 herbs that you would advise people start with.
I would say cilantro, basil, and thyme.
Okay, 3 vegetables.
3 vegetables. I would say your lettuce, sweet peppers and tomatoes. Because the Haitian like to cook with tomatoes and sweet pepper. But lettuce, yeah.
Woo. Sun was hot.
Charles.
Thanks for leaving me here.
Did you have fun?
I appreciate that part.
Oh, Kanye, next time you'll join us.
Yeah, next time. It's always next time.
How was it? What did I miss?
It was really great. It was really informative. I love speaking with Miss Whitlyn. We learned a lot about farming, seeding. Jasmine, want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah, so first of all, I felt like I was on a school trip.
Yeah.
Like a field trip in school.
The one I didn't go on?
Don't be petty.
But yeah, so I learned a lot of things from Miss Whitlyn that I didn't know before because I'm not an expert farmer. So one of the things
Allegedly.
that I remember her talking about was how to plant seeds based on its size. So if I recall correctly, she said if you have a larger seed, you plant it deeper into the soil. But if you have a small seed, because some of them really come like microscopic,
Yeah, it was tiny.
then you plant it a little bit higher up in the soil so it doesn't have to work too hard to sprout up. And I didn't know that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I also like, because, Kanye, you talked about earlier, not having any yard space and stuff, and that's common for a lot of people. But if you saw, guys, in our interview with her, she had like these pans, like these black kind of pans, kind of trays. And that's what she used when she showed us a demonstration on how to plant the seeds. And I like that because she actually recommended that, to say it's easier to use that, especially if you're working with like smaller, I guess, produce.
You mean the beds?
It's like, okay,
The
it's like
planter.
mini ice cube trays. Think of like an ice cube tray, but it's a little bit
I know what
smaller,
you're
more
talking
square.
about.
Boxes?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
really tiny little boxes, and it's like about a good size, so you could plant a lot. And I think that would be easier too, for you guys who're starting out. You may not have a yard space. Definitely follow that tip that she mentioned, because it's going to be easier to manage, when you're planting that seed, when you're trying to get the little tiny ones, not too deep, but not too far up. Another thing that she had mentioned too, obviously, we're talking about this and we want everybody to get involved. And by everyone, we also mean like children, teenagers. And one of the things she said is, if you have young people in your family, in your home, children, you want them to start eating more vegetables, more fruits, it'll be good to plant things that they're actually interested in. You may want them to eat cherry tomatoes, but if they like sweet pepper, or if they like broccoli, or if they like bananas, fruits, whatever it is, plant something that they will be interested in, to just kind of like introduce them to that healthier option, I guess, and start from there. So yeah, I think that's a good point.
I just want to point on something that you said. You were saying that you could purchase stuff that doesn't have pesticides. Not all pesticides are bad. So some things that you put on plants to keep pests away are still good for you. It's good for the plant. It's good for the environment.
Okay, expert.
For
Right,
like,
but she's not an expert, right?
like example, neem oil.
Okay.
But some pesticides are bad.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
So
makes
is
sense.
is that the is that what we would call organic? If you like sans the synthetic or chemical pesticides and fertilizers and herbicides.
Kanye, because I'm not an expert, I can't answer
Of
that
course
for
Let
you.
me
you are.
look that up and
know.
see.
I don't know.
I can look that up and then I can give you my answer.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I've always had a problem with, and why I would have wished you guys hadn't left me sitting on this couch during that field trip. So my problem has been the soil. I think it's the soil that I have access to. I don't know if the soil needs to be treated. I'm pretty sure it does. I've heard someone say before, feed the soil and let the soil feed the plant. The problem is I don't know what to feed the soil. Which is, I guess, why she probably used beds and pots, I guess.
She actually did mention something specifically about soil. So she said when you're planting stuff, you don't want to use the soil that's already in your yard.
Right.
Because,
she did say that.
like, number one, it probably doesn't have the nutrients that the plant would need. And number two, it's going to be heavy for whatever reason. So she did say that you purchase your soil from, like, a nursery. And that's the soil that you use. And that soil is going to have all of the good stuff that your plant needs to grow. And it's also going to be lighter when you water it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because she measured it out, and I think the soil that comes from your ground, when she watered it, was like 3 pounds,
Probably.
And then the one that didn't
No.
come from your ground, the one
that came from the ground
is heavier.
was heavier.
So that was like around 3 pounds, and the one that didn't was like 2 pounds.
Something like that.
It was like a pound difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Y'all had a whole crash course on agriculture and left me sitting here on this couch.
Okay, but to answer your question, you asked about the difference with organic, what makes it organic. So technically, you were right. So it says produce can be called organic if it's certified to have grown on soil that had no prohibited substance applied for 3 years prior to harvest, and that prohibited substances include most synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. So you basically answered your question. You're right.
Okay, so, and I guess so what Jasmine was saying is that not all pesticides
Not
are
all
bad.
pesticides are bad.
So if it's natural or organic pesticides, you
Those
can.
are the good ones. Just like how you have like
Yeah.
good bacteria in your body, you need that to help.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same thing that applies.
Yeah, and
Okay.
speaking about that, let's talk about the benefits of backyard farming.
Well, one of the things that she mentioned is that you get more nutrients because she said like the produce in the store, by the time it gets in your home and you're ready to cook it, but basically the nutrients or most of it is gone because of all that importing, all that transporting from there to there versus
vacation.
backyard farming. Even if you go to a local vendor, you're still getting it from them and it's going to your home and to your body. So it still has way more nutrients in it. Of course, the nutrients is multiplied if you're picking it literally right from the tree and then going to wash that off and cook that. So it's definitely a level of nutrients. I think that's the biggest thing. And she said that that's an even larger conversation that leads to our health. Because we're taking in all these foods that are imported, like we mentioned. It has probably a mixture of the good and bad pesticides or chemicals, and that's affecting our health in the long run. So obviously the biggest benefit of backyard farming and growing your own food is knowing where your food is coming from, knowing what's on it, and how is that directly affecting your health.
Right. And the fruits don't only give you the vitamins and stuff
Right.
that you need. When you go out in the sun, even though in the Bahamas it's very hot,
Always.
wear your sunscreen, you
Right.
get that vitamin D that
Exactly.
you need from the sun, and it improves your health. It improves to some extent like your skin, because your skin needs like sunlight, right? If I'm wrong.
I think it does.
Please
I think
take that
just
out.
once you don't overdo it.
Right.
Like definitely time when you're in the sun, because then obviously too much of anything can
Right.
lead to a bad thing. So the
Right.
sun in moderation could still be good.
Right. And it improves like how you feel. Like it makes
Definitely.
you feel like alive and woken up,
I get that.
Yeah.
I haven't
It gives you a
experienced
bit of
it,
energy.
but I feel like I get the vibe.
Right. In addition to that, you save money.
That's
We love to save money.
we love
Yeah.
saving money over here.
Money.
It's like the biggest thing.
I think we talked about that in the last episode too.
Yeah.
Overall, it's a good way to use your time. And I think that especially goes for children. Instead of having them be idle in the house, playing video games, talking on the phone all day, go out in the yard and grow some stuff.
Get the
Learn to-
tools.
Right.
There's a lot of
Use your
bonding
hands.
time
Right.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great bonding time, I think.
Make a family activity out of it.
Yeah. So everybody on their tablets and thing, like go dig in some soil, touch
Right.
grass.
Yeah, touch
Y'all
grass.
need to touch grass.
And I would say another benefit would also be to your immediate environment as well. A lot of people, I feel, don't want to grow certain things in their yard because they feel as if it's clashing with the aesthetics of their property. But in reality, I feel it's the opposite. I feel that certain things, especially edible plants, can improve the aesthetics of your property.
I agree.
And also, I guess, more or less increase the variety of vegetation that you have available to you. Especially if you're a person that tends to the soil. You tend to, you treat your yard with the intent that you want it to be fruitful. Then yeah, you're gonna have, I guess it protects your immediate environment as well and sustains it because it's very sustainable. It's something that you don't need to hire workers, and you don't necessarily need to find some big plot of land. You can grow a variety of things in your immediate area. So now you have a variety of vegetation and a variety of fauna. Fauna is animals. Fauna.
I'm not
I
sure.
can't shit myself today.
Yeah. So, there's that. Just as an added benefit, in my opinion, if you're someone that cares about the environment.
I just want to say one thing because our producers are rushing us, but don't rush us. This is a good show.
I know, right?
I want to say, in terms of aesthetics, so like Miss Whitlyn said, vegetables tend to die and come back. So that can kind of, be a disadvantage for aesthetics. You don't want dying stuff in your yard. So if that's something that you do worry about, plant fruit trees. Because even though they don't, you can't harvest most things all year round, the tree is still going to be there and alive. So that's something you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, and another thing, sorry, producers, that Miss Whitley said. So a point is, I guess, kind of you could use that as well. As a community, I guess another bit of benefit would be, okay, I plant tomatoes in my yard, and the neighbor plants cabbage, and then the other neighbor plants. So, that could probably help with the aesthetic point. Like if you don't want tomato in your yard, be like, okay, let the neighbor plant that one. And then, when everything is harvested, we could come together and, so that's community building as well. So I think that's a good point as well.
Yeah. And also the health benefits. Usually when you pick something, or when you pluck something from the ground, it starts to lose nutrients very shortly after it's picked.
Yeah,
So when you buy in fresh produce from the grocery store, that is not as fresh as you may think it is. Frozen produce maybe, because what they do with frozen produce is they flash freeze them, probably using liquid nitrogen or something. So they freeze them at the point of peak ripeness. But when you buy fresh produce, you actually your spinach is nowhere near as nutritious as it would have been if that was picked fresh out of the ground. So the other benefit to it would be if you're growing your own vegetables, your own fruits, you get to eat them at peak ripeness with their peak nutritional density.
That as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I smart sometimes.
You're smart all the time, Kanye.
Okay.
And
gonna say
one
something
other thing, I'm not sure if she mentioned this or if I'm hallucinating.
Well.
I haven't eaten today.
Same.
But I think she mention something about smoothies and how you can eat the produce? I don't know. But
I can't recall.
I feel like that's also something that we can do to improve our health, because if you're growing all of these things, if you're not giving it away, a lot of it can go to waste. You don't want that. You can freeze stuff, but you don't want a freezer full of things as well. So we can also put them in smoothies.
Yeah.
Yay.
You can cook with it, bake banana bread once it start getting a little old, potato bread, all these different stuff.
I hate banana bread with rice.
I hate it too. I don't like potato bread. It's a little bit greasy. I don't know. But I love smoothies. They're definitely you just feel like that girl
It's a
or
vibe.
that guy. You know?
Yeah, well, that-
Yeah, so definitely rewatch. What's her name?
Miss Whitlyn.
Whitlyn.
Miss Whitlyn. Start small and follow her advice. She's the expert.
Yeah.
I'm not the expert. The only experts in
Yeah.
here is Miss Whitlyn
Alright.
and Jasmine.
No. But I think this has been a very fun,
Yeah,
informative
I enjoy it.
show.
It has.
And we can't tell people to do things and not do it ourselves.
True.
Oh my god.
So-
Oh my god. What's happening?
What we're
This is
going
where you get
to
involved.
do- right?
You want
Oh,
to
finally?
get involved, right?
Get involved. Get involved.
Oh,
get
boy.
involved, Get involved. Get involved. Okay, so we are going to be planting a seed today. We're going to be going home. You get a plant. You get a plant. We're going to be going
Yeah.
home with our own little seeds
So
and
the
plants.
world is about to find out that I was lying about planting.
And also, I want us to keep updated with these plants.
Of course.
I want to see who stuff
giving us
died
homework?
first.
We gotta
Yeah.
name the plants too.
Yeah.
Let's think of a name. Jasmine already have a name.
I have mine.
I wanted to be a guest on the show. It's my fault.
Okay.
So, is someone going to bring our stuff, or do we have to get it ourselves? Or what's happening? Producers.
Let us know.
Producer.
So, our set has magically changed.
With the
Thanks,
power of
producers.
editing.
So, today we are going to grow some herbs. Not that kind, other kind.
Herbs.
So, today we have some thyme and basil. So, y'all can choose whichever one y'all want to grow today.
I'm gonna go with the basil.
Okay, so Jhanae is saying it's time to grow basil. Okay.
Yeah,
we
I think I'm
have-
going to do time.
Yeah, I'm doing thyme too.
Oh, we doing the same time?
Yeah, same time. We doing time, same time. So we have our soil, we have our water, we have something to plant them. Well, dig the soil with. So let's get this going.
Let's get it
With
started.
some advanced gardening tools.
You know what?
But hey, use what you got, right?
Right, use what you got.
Make it work.
All right. You mind if I open the dirt? I'm opening the dirt. So do I pour in first up to a certain level,
Yeah,
and
you
then
don't
I
have to
plant a
fill it
single
up.
seed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To make it easier, you could even scoop it.
I think that would make sense.
Yeah.
Let's see. You don't mind if I go first?
No?
Okay, cool.
Men before ladies.
Nice.
All right. And I got me a pot full of dirt.
Ooh, so excited.
So, here you go.
Thank you. Pass the soil on the left
Left-hand side.
Hey.
Now, which herb you was talking about earlier?
Okay. Okay, come on. Alright, this should be enough.
It's my turn, guys.
Right.
Okay, so when you get your soil,
Mm.
I have a concern. These thyme seeds are tiny.
Yeah.
So it's gonna, I'm
Whoa.
gonna pour some
Yeah,
in my
these-
hand.
They real small. Even the basil seeds are small.
Okay.
Right.
I guess we can plant about 2, but like put it on different sides of the pot.
Okay.
Seed
Or
ASMR.
maybe-
Shh. I was doing a seed ASMR.
Or maybe 4 and put each on a different.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am going to
These
ignore
are
all
so
device.
small. I don't know. Can the camera pick this up?
Yeah, it looks like black pepper.
Okay.
This is what the basil looks like.
And remember, guys, if your faith is just that size,
You can move mountains.
He'll do it for you. Okay, I'm gonna get one of these.
okay, I'm
Thank you.
gonna put mine in now.
Okay, I'm going to. I don't know if the camera can pick this up. I hope so. But I'm going to dig a little. Okay, let me do it on each side so that I can plant 4 even though it's certain thing not to overcrowd it. Okay, so 1 seed. These are so
This
small.
is so fun, actually.
So I'm gonna ignore all of her advice. I'm gonna plant a few of these.
Okay. And then also, y'all, we're going
Let's get this
to.
out of the way.
Yeah, let's
Oh,
go
yeah.
with water. We're going to be posting an update
Yeah, definitely.
on our plans to see how well or not well they'll be doing.
Now, she said for small seeds, you plant them shallow, right?
Right.
Right.
Okay. I'm not gonna dig too deep.
In this corner.
I don't know how shallow is too shallow.
It was like a quarter from the top.
Okay. Okay. So I'm spot on, I think. Oh my god.
I love that.
Okay, I'm just trying to get them back in. Oh my god, please don't
Can you
die.
pass me the water? One of these slight water for
I'm gonna-
demonstration purposes.
Yeah.
I wanna make sure I don't kill these future children.
Yeah, what? I messed up.
You guys are giving me something I have to take care of, okay? I'm already attached.
Nice. And like I said,
So
y'all, we
helpful.
can't go there and tell y'all to do these things and not be on the show and do it too. So this is so exciting. This is so fun.
So do we have to update people on all this stuff?
Yes,
Yes,
we have
you
to
just said that.
update.
Because I'm not I have a terrible time like taking care of the things that I love.
Our producer Ricky is also going to be having her own plan. She'll also keep you guys updated. What plan are you gonna do? Are you gonna do time or basil?
Are you talking to the producer?
I am. She's not answering me. Producer 1, 2, 3.
Producer said she'll do time.
She'll do time, guys. So we have 3 time and 1 basil.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
give
the
it.
different one just to show you guys, you know, what a basil would look like as well.
I'm gonna give it enough water that it never has to drink again.
So if you drink one time in your life, you'll never thirst again.
I don't know how things work. Say heaven. All right. Mission
Okay.
accomplished.
So what are we gonna name our little plants?
So mine is going to name Ferdinand.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cute.
I think I'll go anime and go with Bulbasaur.
Is that from
Pokemon. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not very imaginative.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with mine's a girl. I'm gonna go with Pocahontas.
Okay. So we planted our herbs, whatever you call it, and I think today was really fun. It was
Very
a fun
informative.
show,
Yeah.
right? I definitely want to do something like this again. And if you want to see more, then keep watching. Tune in to the Rewind every month. Episode 5 coming to screens near you. Also follow us on the R News Facebook page, our YouTube channel, R News, is it?
Yes, our
Yes.
News Bahamas.
R News Bahamas,
Mhm.
Twitter,
And you said Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and then our YouTube,
yeah.
and then our website, ournewsbahamas.bs.
Thanks, yeah. So
This is
follow
gonna be
us.
episode 4. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon on The Rewind.
Bye.
And please tell them to invite me back.
You're always welcome.
You're
back, honey.
always invited.
Maybe you'll see how I either kill time or save time, depending on what happens.